Hi, my name's Stephen Bright, and I am the author of The Oracle Creator, a book which was released by Liminal 11 last year in 2021. It's just started to hit the shops and people's homes quite recently, so I thought I might come on and just talk a little bit about one of the sections in here, which is about postcard reading. There are many ways in which you can create an oracle or a tarot deck, and one of the methods is the Postcard Oracle. And I wanted to mention this in my book because it really is probably the simplest way of creating a deck of cards. One of the great things about postcards is that they're really easy to get hold of and they're not particularly expensive. You can pretty much get postcards in the same sizes. And I picked up this pack of postcards the other day in a sale for just £3.75. They were originally £15, which I still don't think is a lot of money for 100 postcards. But the great thing about buying these boxes, even though you could just buy them singly in different stores, is that you get postcards based around a specific theme. I chose this postcard box because I do love the stories of Peter Rabbit. I have the whole collection of books and they remind me of being young, a child, but I also still very much love the illustrations. So there's a touch of nostalgia here, but the good thing about these postcards, because they're from a storybook, they have different kind of meanings, I guess, attached to them already. You can see in this image here that you have a rabbit, probably Peter Rabbit, being chased by somebody. So you could see this as a card potentially of danger, of need to get away from something. These boxes of postcards are wonderful because you can get them around so many different subjects. And as I said, they're all quite affordable, really. You can get them around science fiction. I have a set which are based on children's ladybird books from the 70s and before, and you can also get them around different flowers or nature. This lot is based around Peter Rabbit and the illustrations of Beatrice Potter. Now, the interesting thing about these, and what is really quite good, is that you do get a lot of them. So there's 100 here. So these first postcards are the actual covers of the books. Now, if you know something about these stories, or you do have the books, as I do here, you know, these are going to mean something to you. But if you buy a set like this, and you know, you could either kind of go off of the names of them, but you know, as you can see here, Mrs. Tiggy Winkle, if you don't know the story of this hedgehog, then it's probably not going to mean very much to you. And the great thing about having 100 postcards is that you can actually take some of them out. You know, you don't have to use the whole 100. Then we find in this set some lovely illustrations. I really like these, but they feel like they're more from the artist's sketchbook, so maybe they're not perfect for an oracle. The bulk of postcards in this set are actually just illustrations, and as you can see here, we have an image of what looks like a mother rabbit mixing up something in her bowl to give to a rabbit that is, or a baby rabbit that's underneath the covers of his bed, probably Peter Rabbit. One of the great things about this actual set is, if you didn't know, you can look on the back and it says that this is an illustration from 1902. It says, Peter Rabbit ill in bed. His mother put him to bed and made some chamomile tea and then gave him a dose of it to Peter. So right out the bat there, you know, we can see that this is a card of being unwell. A card where maybe you need to take time out because of ill health. Now, that doesn't have to be dramatic ill health. It could just be a time where you need to convalesce for a little bit to relax. So that could become a card in our oracle. So we put the ones that make sense to us aside. We look here, we have lots of bunnies being given something, or at least they're around the mother rabbit, but Peter Rabbit is not. Peter Rabbit is moving off. So this could be a card of a discontent. If you were going to make a tarot deck out of postcards, which you feasibly could do because there's enough here to cover the 78 cards, if the pictures align with the meanings, this could be something like the Four of Cups, perhaps. This is the one we just saw in the book, so this could be a card for danger. Curiosity, perhaps. I have two bunnies here who are sitting on the floor just beside me, and they're very, very curious animals. They like to know what's going on, and this one here is going to see what this guy's doing in the garden. So this could be a card of curiosity for good or for bad. This makes me think, if we're thinking of tarot, of a Ten of Cups scene, perhaps. It's warm, the family are all together. It looks like the rabbits or the bunnies here are folding up the sheets while the mother looks after the two younger ones. This might be a card of companionship, perhaps, of romance even. We have the two rabbits here sitting together quite tenderly. This one could be a card of selfishness, perhaps. We have this rabbit here who has taken the carrot and is pushing this one out of the way. Now, this reminds me of my bunnies because I have one bunny here who will chase the other bunny away when it's treat time, so I have to give it to them separately. A card of satisfaction, perhaps. They all look like they've been eaten in the vegetable patch, and now with their full bellies, they're all taken asleep. I understand that rabbits, actually, they do like to group together because it makes them feel safe as well. But you could also look at this card as one of vulnerability, even, because the rabbits here are all asleep. Nobody's actually on guard. They have their ears up. But if there was a predator around, would they be able to jump up and get away in time? This is a nice one. This makes me think of the Hierophant in tarot because I read this story. This is the story of all of these little squirrels that go to, I think it's Brown Owl's Island, and they go over there and they sit around and they listen to stories. You could look at them as receiving advice from him, so this could be a card of advice. We have a gentleman here of some kind. He could be anything. He could be anything you choose him to be in your oracle. And this is where you really go with your intuition. He has what looks like a book, could be some files. It might be a boss figure, perhaps. It might be a visitor who's arrived with his stick. It could be somebody in a more powerful position. He seems to be better dressed, or more formally dressed even, than the animals we've seen so far. This might be a card of work. This one is interesting, and it's an image of bunnies being put into a bag. Now, if I remember the story rightly, this is not a good scenario. This is once again another dangerous card because these rabbits have been captured and I'm not quite sure what's going to happen to them. I don't know if the guy the farmer who doesn't want them eating his vegetables is going to dispose of them in some way. So when you're looking through your deck, you're going to find cards that are similar. Both of these could be cards of danger. It might be that this one is of danger and this one is of capture of some kind. or vulnerability because they are asleep. So you need to kind of make your own decisions as you go through. There are going to be some cards, obviously, that don't make sense for you. You know, you might look at one like this. I think the idea here is that the cat is playing with the mouse. Does it say here? Mrs. Moppet playing with a mouse caught in a handkerchief. Miss Moppet thinks she will tease the mouse, which is not a nice thing to do. So, you know, does that make sense in your oracle? If it doesn't, take it out. Here's another kind of card of caution. We have, is this Jemima Puddle Duck? Yeah, it's Jemima Puddle Duck being charmed by this sleek fox here. Now, you know, you could look at this in as many different ways as you want to. You know, this could be like a courting couple, but because what we know about ducks and what we know about foxes, we would guess that he is manipulating her in some way or not being honest. So, you know, this could be a card of caution. Nice little card. Does it say anything to us in an oracle? Maybe not. There are many cards in here that you could do something with, and it's very much based on your intuition. Another card there that could be connected to hard work, and this is where you can weigh up the two. If they have two different kinds of meanings regarding work, then you can keep them both. But sometimes if they have a similar kind of energy, then we can choose. I'm not going to go through every card in this postcard deck, but I just wanted to give you an idea how these can make a successful oracle. A few more let's look at. This one here could be a card of teamwork, so very Three of Pentacles. A card of loss perhaps here. Peter Rabbit has lost his onions. A card of the home, so in your general oracles this could be a card of security or stability. A card of the journey here when we have this little, is that a mouse or is that a rabbit? It's a rabbit. So this rabbit here is walking off to the baker's, I believe, through the wood. Abundance. A rabbit eating radishes. You know, we have a lot of different stories here. This is a really good one generally because it comes from storybooks, so it has some kind of narrative already built in. Other cards, that's a nice one. That could be a card of shelter. Other cards, you know, it's quite good if you can get a look at some of them before you buy them. You know, I think you can see a lot of these decks online. Some of them actually have the pictures on the back of the box as well, so you can see all of the cards, which will give you a good indication. Not everything in the deck is going to be useful. These ones here, which are covers of, well, I'm guessing the original editions of the books, are not something I would use within an oracle. We have pictures of Beatrice Potter here as well, not something I would divine with. And some of her older pictures. Once you've chosen your cards, obviously you have these postcard backs. Now, for a lot of people, that's not really going to bother them. It doesn't bother me. But if you didn't want to be able to see what the titles were on the back, or if you're using postcards from different sets, which might make the front illustrations obvious if you can see the backs, then you could back them with some kind of adhesive plastic perhaps. You can buy rolls of, I think one of them is called Fablon, where you stick the back and then you can cut away the excess. But generally, you know, they're not bad to shuffle. And you can do readings with them, you know, like what do I need to know today? And turn them over, you know, and today might be a day where you need to be a little bit more alert. You need to have your wits about you because you just don't know who's out there and what they might do to manipulate you. So you can use these cards in all the kind of spreads that you would do normally. One more card before we go. What's this one? So, you know, this card here, it could just be saying, today is a duvet day. Maybe you don't want to get up and go out to work and you just want to have a day in bed. You know, maybe this is saying that's okay. But in other situations, if you have set the intention that this is about being unwell, it could just be saying you need to recuperate a little bit, take some time away until you feel better. So thank you for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. I hope that you give out postcard reading a try, and if you want to get hold of my book, you can find it in places like Amazon, or you can go to the Liminal 11 website. So cheers, and I'll see you again soon. Take care for now.